I'm excited to have Will
This is
on.
perfect timing. This is exactly how I wanted to time it up. We have two posts that were coming in. I believe Will's here in the chat. Let's bring him in. Can we hear him? Will, how you doing? Welcome.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
To TBPN.
There he is. You're a little out of frame there, but let's see if there we go.
Looking great. You're
Will,
good.
You got me in frame?
You're perfect.
Right away, I got to give you credit for something important, which is introducing John and I. You did it.
Thank you for the 70% equity in the Technology Brothers. I was really excited to tender that in this most recent round. Really proud of what you guys have done.
No, you had amazing insight and taste. I remember the intro was basically like, you guys are the only two people I like in LA. You should meet. Something like that.
So glad TPG could buy all of my equity in this beautiful brand in this last round at 200 times forward.
Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing to have you on. You've been on the show many times before.
As a poster. First time as a guest.
And it's we're looking forward to having you as a regular.
Yeah. So I want to get your reaction to this post from from Ayla. She says, going for aimless walks is one of the worst things. Give me a coffee shop, a bookstore, a friend's house. I will walk 8 miles, no problem. But around the block, are you insane? Why would you want each step to be meaningless? Your outdoor time dumped into an empty void. And I feel like you've had a couple bangers about walking. I have one here from you. I've met many people who turn their lives around by walking around aimlessly for a couple hours a day. What's your take on walking? Would you recommend it to the next generation of Will Manidises?
Yeah, I think you got to walk. Like, it's the only way to get comfortable with yourself. You're sitting alone, you're silent, you're not staring at a wall, you're moving. I think Ayla's life might be meaningfully different if she's hitting, 20K, 30K, 40K steps a day. Really, the difference between, boys and men happen in between that 10,000 and 20,000 step a day goal. So for Ayla, I'd prescribe, 50,000 steps.
That'd be a good start.
Did you actually put up 20K yesterday? Like, are you in that tier? I feel like getting to 10K no brainer, but
yeah.
What do you actually recommend?
No, but to be clear, getting to 10K is extremely difficult.
It's very difficult.
Our lifestyle now, which is show up to our building.
We're going to get treadmills, so we're going to be walking while we do the show. Do you think that's a suitable substitute for actually walking outside, or should we just have a film crew with us?
Worthless activity. You got to be outside. You got to be in
nature. It only counts
if
you're actually outside.
It's worthless. It's not good for your soul.
So you think we should have like a TV camera production trailer following us while we shoot the show while we're walking around?
Yeah, I don't see a reason why this desk can't be on wheels moving with you. Like, this show should be happening in a loop, Central Park all day.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. How is New York these days?
Beautiful. Spring's here.
Yeah. Already?
The issue with New York is that 20K steps a day in the winter is like deadly, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just can't do it. But in the summer, like, you can hit 40,000 step days, no trouble, right?
Yeah.
40K days.
I mean, the last time I was there, the meme worked on me, and I walked all the way from, uptown to downtown and back, and it was fantastic. And it took like hours and hours and hours. It was
doing
amazing.
the loop of Manhattan is like a great once-a-year tradition.
It's
right?
uniquely
like, go up to 220
amazing.
or whatever, walk all the way down, do the loop. Like, that's a perfect day in the city.
Yeah.
Talk to us about hobbies. You've got one that we're particularly interested in.
Well, he won an award for it.
Yeah.
He's an award-winning model boat enthusiast.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the best hobbies in the world are the ones where the average participant is like 85 years old and post-economic. And I'm a proud member of Central Park Model Yacht Club, selling, comically small and some comically large model boats. Really hard to get out on the water in New York, and it's much easier to get on the water in Central Park. You can sail around remote control, go quite fast, win some races. It's a good time.
Is that a model boat right behind you? Is that the sail of a boat?
Six feet of model boat right behind me.
Fantastic.
My office has been relegated to storage.
Talk about the rise of Christianity in tech.
I think you're tracking like a greater rise in Christianity in the West, right? Like, I think we tried this kind of post-religious thing through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and it just seemed like it led to universal depression. I mean, particularly in tech, Trey Stevens leading the way there, Trey and Michelle right on the West Coast. But I also think in New York, there's an incredible young Christian movement happening. Like, Church of the City of New York is baptizing, like a couple million people a week at this point. It's incredible how quickly this is going. The question is, how do you turn this into a durable movement that lasts over time? Slightly worried that it's going to be like a 5-year wave, going to be trendy, going to fade out. Christianity is the most important thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know how we fade that out over 20 years, but feels like a relatively important thing to focus on.
Are you worried about kind of Christianity becoming a LARP or cultural Christianity being a substitute? Like,
yeah, this like feels like the issue, right? Like even when you go to service in San Francisco, it does feel a little bit like this is like a networking event,
Yep.
right? Like why am I here for services and also pitching my startup, right? It seems like it's good that there's like an elite, an elite Christianity that, elite, somewhat elite cultural taste here. This seems good. But the fact that we're treating it somewhat like a golf club is a little concerning. I do think the LARP, like all love to the Gundo Bros, but the things that come downstream of that feel not particularly great.
Yeah, Dory.
That makes sense. Which companies specifically in the private markets are benefiting most from from AI within healthcare? What companies are you excited about? I'm sure you get pitched pretty much every company in the space. If they're not pitching you, what are they even doing? What areas do you think are actually getting maybe not I would say like consumer adoption, but like real enterprise adoption? You obviously worked in this problem space for quite a long time.
Yeah, I mean the take I have here is that legacy healthcare companies are actually going to be the winners during this wave. I think as you see kind of AI adoption happen in healthcare, you're starting to see widgets get adopted, right? Doctors requesting ambient scribes. You see big companies like a Bridge coming out of that. But ultimately, ambient scribes are the front door to the electronic medical record system. They're certainly not the entire suite of software that a physician might use. And unlike the world we're used to in tech, the person who purchases software and the person that uses software in healthcare are not the same person, right? Physicians are using it, hospital admins procuring it. There's a big divide there, which means they have different competing priorities. I am radically more excited by the opportunity of big legacy healthcare software businesses taking modern AI innovation, installing it onto their user base and scaling that out than I am any kind of novel net new startup. Like I think we will see 1,000 kind of AI enabled executive physical startups happen over the next 6 months. I don't think any of them are going to last. I think we'll see 1,000 pill mills that will spin up over the next 6 months. I think they're all going to jail. Right. Healthcare is just not a place that rewards this kind of net new novel distribution plays. But I do think legacy distribution in healthcare is the most underpriced asset in the world right now. And if you can take that, plug AI on top of it, very interesting outcomes.
Do you think there's alpha in being, a young, cracked AI engineer implementer, but instead of starting a company, going to work for one of those legacy companies, working your way up, becoming the CEO?
Yeah, tremendous alpha. I mean, if you think about like how big, like install base is the most underpriced thing in software right now.
Yeah.
I think everyone's used to seeing these companies go, 0 to 100 and then, probably back down to 0, right? This is Jeremy's thing, the Iron Condor law or whatever, right? But I think there is like something really underappreciated about a company that has had like, 140 million in reoccurring revenue over decades.
Yeah.
Like that switching cost, that install cost, that velocity, and the ability to pilot software on top of that install base at scale is just something you can't beat. Like I don't think you can do that from a net new startup. That trust, that brand, that install, it's pretty cool.
Do you think any of the bigger VC funds, maybe going public, will have the money to buy into that and then drop AI on top of it?
Hard to know. I mean, I think a lot of this is ground up adoption. Like I work at a large, publicly traded EMR right now, and we're certainly seeing AI happen in every aspect of our product suite. Mm-hmm. But it's really a matter of making these tools accessible, right? And I think as you see a commodification happen at the model layer, right? Maybe OpenAI is not worth $140 billion or whatever when you can install Llama and run them locally and build these product features. As we upskill software engineers in these companies and like very smart people go and work for them, I think the outcomes will just be better.
Yeah.
Do you have any insight into why SBF is getting to podcast from jail? Because John posted about this yesterday, which was a good line. If you can now tweet and podcast from jail, is that not sort of putting out a signal?
What is the punishment?
Yeah.
You're not like as a VC,
like
you get time pulled off your sentence, right? Like this feels like punishment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's your take on that broadly? You always, at least within the group chats, you always have good takes here.
I just think SBF is, this incredible fixture. I will be shocked to see if he serves this whole sentence.
Yeah.
He has like very strong proof that if you donate enough money to the right people, you can kind of bend the world around you.
Yeah.
And I sincerely hope he stays in jail for a very long amount of time.
Interesting. Yeah. Can you tell us, do you have any good anonymized, you don't need to name names, but good stories of frauds or malfeasance in the startup or financial world that you think might be illustrative or educational for the listeners?
I mean, I think like I have a great tweet about this, about kind of the deep tech fraud playbook of how to build, a $1 billion company without shipping any technology. And I think we're seeing some incredible innovations happen in the deep tech fraud arena right now, where we have companies that are raising, hundreds of millions of dollars on technology that does not exist, will never exist, and is plainly impossible on the face of it based on, a basic and rudimentary understanding of physics.
Hasn't that happened for years though? I mean, that's happened for years with like Solyndra, Theranos. Like this playbook seems to be repeating itself forever. Is there anything?
Yeah, but I feel like we're getting like incredibly tested, playbooks here, right? Okay, the acquisition of mass amounts of LA-based real estate, right? Arm tattoos from the CEOs, sick biceps. Like this is just like fundamental innovations on the art that we haven't seen in a long amount of time.
Got it.
Well said. Will, are you 27 now?
26.
26. You've come of age in a kangaroo market. You've played it very well. The kangaroo market, for those that don't know, we talked about this on the show yesterday. Historically, you had bull markets where things go up, bear markets where things go down. Kangaroo markets, you're just sort of like bouncing all over the place. What's your general read? In my view, we've seen more top signals in the last 3 months than any point in my adult life. Is there any more gas in the tank? Are we in a sort of like tech super cycle, or is it just down only from here on out?
I think we got a couple more 10Xs left to go. I think the ceiling is far from where we're at now. I just think we have a couple, 10X sell downs on the way too. It just feels like the rate of, up, down is only going to increase. Fragility in the market's going to skyrocket too, right? As you see like billions of dollars in venture chasing, Claude plugins that, write some basic code for you. We don't understand how any of the stuff works. Fragility is going to go up. Market's going to cycle a bunch. Mega cycle feels crazy. It just feels like if you're not making money along that path, I don't know what you're doing.
What are your thoughts on leverage right now?
Right, two great Jeremy Gaffon idea, two kinds of guys in the world, right? Cash chads, leverage kings, right? I am a cash chad. I run my accounts net cash. I've never had leverage in my life, no credit cards, debit cards only. Right. There are certainly guys that live on the leverage hierarchy, are able to run that. Not my playbook. Two different kinds of people in the world.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
Just advice for young people.
Advice for young people: don't take out credit cards. No credit card debt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buy comically large model boats. They're a very good store of value.
I got another one. Speaking of young people, do you think there's an opportunity to go downstream of the Teal Fellowship and offer funds to middle schoolers to drop out of middle school to pursue deep tech, hard tech, impactful projects?
I'm thinking about this with Ramp employees, right? Like we find every 14-year-old that works at Ramp, right? We find everyone that Zach Frankel has recruited from local Bay Area middle schools, and we give them $1 million to start an expense tech startup. I feel like that is just like clear alpha in the market right now. We need to go younger. We need to go into the benches at Ramp.
Yeah.
To the benches at Ramp.
The benches. The benches, from the benches to the trenches.
There you go.
That's where we need to go.
What are you reading these days? I know you've got rare books and manuscripts. Maybe some of them you can't talk about, but what's top of mind?
I am working on republishing an amazing book that I cannot say the title of, but it's a history of political corruption in Louisiana in the 1960s. It is, so good that the author that wrote it was shot 14 times in the chest with a shotgun by the subject of the book. That's how you know you're writing something important. That's how you know you're writing something good. I recently purchased the rights to that. That should be coming at some point in the next 2 to 7 years, as soon as I figure out how to actually publish the thing. But really focused on political history right now. I think there's a huge amount of alpha left there.
What about a book that's already in publish or already in print?
Best thing I read recently was a Brent B. Shore recommendation that I am scrolling through my Amazon trying to find the name of.
Okay.
Oh, another good one, Santa Monica Partners Letters on small cap investing, kind of a classic of the genre, on finding undervalued businesses traded on very weird and esoteric markets.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk to us about the transition from semi-illiquid startup founder to much more liquid post-exit founder. Are you have you been focused on getting illiquid again by making a high volume of startup investments? Or are you more interested?
I've been focused on getting illiquid by buying very large model boats. I think this is kind of where the market's going. I think it is clearly an underpriced asset, and I'm moving size in the model boat industry right now.
Are you looking at any startups that might act as like marketplaces for model boats? We're partnering with
I think
Bezel for
liquidity is
launches.
a bad thing. You
Okay.
never want to mark to market. You never want to be able to liquidate
Sure.
assets. Ideally, the perfect asset is impossible to liquidate and impossible to mark.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like a black hole you put money into.
Yeah.
And this model boat I have my eye on, built from wood, from Henry Kissinger's desk in the West Wing. It's a perfect asset. It's impossible to mark.
Cool.
Impossible to mark.
Awesome. Well, it's been great having you. You guys, anything else?
We look forward to, as the cycle, continues to, make progress and unravel. We'd love to have you back on the show to discuss.
Good to have you guys. Excited to collect my equity on this enterprise.
Yep.
Yes.
You deserve it.
You deserve it. You worked hard for it.
Yeah, you did.
Thanks,
Will. Have a great Friday.
Bye.